Google launched AI prototyping on AI Studio. It's amazing. Under 10 minutes, you have a fully functional app.
Google and Meta are leading the AI race, and she's the PM behind it. Nika has been an AI PM for 11 years. In today's episode, she's showing you exactly how to use AI well as a PM. Notebook LM, Opal, AI Studio. You're not using these tools, but they can give you superpowers. Let's say they want to get your job. What's the 18-month roadmap to landing an AI PM job at a company like Google?
I tell PMs that they need to be like crabs. What does that mean? That means that you need to move adjacent to what you've been doing.
When should you be using an AI prototype?
It used to be the case, idea, PRD, comments on the PRD. Whereas now the workflow is you have an idea, you don't need to reach out to anyone yet. So what I do is I prototype and then bring my scientist and engineer.
Should they be using GPTs like this?
If you want one takeaway from this podcast is don't be embarrassed to admit that you use AI.
What are the top tools you use as an AI PM? Before we get into today's episode, if you can do me a quick favor and check if you have a following on Apple and Spotify podcasts and subscribed on YouTube, these are free actions you can take that really help the show grow. And if you become an annual subscriber to my newsletter, did you know that you get access to over $28,000 of premium products? That's right. Mobbin, Arise, Relay.app, Dovetail, Linear, Magic Patterns, Deep Sky, Reforge Build, and Descript. They are all free for an entire year if you become an annual subscriber to my newsletter. So go take advantage at bundle.akashg.com. And now into today's episode. Merrily, Nika and I filmed my 7th most popular episode a year ago. Merrily broke down everything on how to become an AIPM because she's done it. She's been there. She is an AIPM at Google. And today, she's here for a new episode to drop all of the AI tools she uses as an AIPM. How you can supercharge yourself as an AIPM with AI using the latest Google tools. For instance, are you using Notebook LM? Are you using Opal? Are you using Google AI Studio to their fullest power? Merrily is, and today she's dropping all the expert tips and tricks. She's made the mistakes, so you don't have to. She's going to drop the workflows that you can use to use these tools like an expert from day one. Merrily, welcome to the podcast.
Hi, thank you so much for having me again, Aakash.
Yeah, it feels like every couple years we have to get back together for a collaboration. We actually collaborated even before the podcast on the newsletter a year before that. So we have been fast friends for a while. So nice to see you. Today, I want to break down for everybody all these AI tools you're using.
Yes, excellent. Let's do it.
So walk us through this. What are the top tools you use as an AI PM?
All right, so there's something I call tool hopping. And here's the tools I will use several times every single day. All right. Number one, and this is in no particular order, Google launched AI prototyping on AI Studio. And it's amazing. It's unbelievable. It makes tweaking the idea that you have in your mind and the vision super, super quick. So iteration is wonderful on it. Number two, Google Labs launched this product. It's called Opal, and it's for AI mini apps. I'll show you a couple of examples on what I've been doing there. But instead of going on a playground to just try out the new different models that are out there, you can literally type in using English and see a mini app emerge. It's very fun. Under 10 minutes, you have a fully functional little app that can use like Nano Banana and all the cool models, and it's just super great. All right, next up, and there's different kind of hats I'm wearing when I'm using them. So I have my Google job, as you say, where I'm an AI PM and I want to be more productive. So that's where AI prototyping and Opal comes in. Now, when I do my second job, which is I founded the AI Product Academy and I teach on my bootcamp. That's when I use Notebook LM. And I have a super interesting demo to show you, which is specifically for my demo day. I want to have a judge that's an AI judge. And I bring in Notebook LM. I load up all the presentations from my students, and then it assesses what people have created and chooses the winner. And the winner really gets swag and prizes just because AI chose it. Now back to my Google hat. When I want to build a product, of course, first thing you need to do is talk to the users, talk to the people. I discovered this super cool feature on Perplexity that allows you to search only through social. It searches only through Reddit. And I get to have kind of the magic, the power of the people voice on my hands. And I mold it. And it helps me really become an amazing product leader because I know exactly what's likely to find product market fit. Moreover, as PMs, we create artifacts, right? I create most of my artifacts on ChatGPT or using Gemini's Gem. Now, I have some custom GPTs that I've customized so much that I just cannot move to any other platform because it knows my voice and myself so well after, I want to say years at this point. Well, yeah, after years of using them. And last but not least, this is probably the only meeting I don't have my Fireflies note taker, and I use Fireflies to take notes, to be more productive, and make sure I will follow up on the things that are assigned to me.
I love your tool stack. I love how it's not a trillion tools. It's very simple. You're at Google, so a lot of it is on the Google stack, which makes sense, right? A lot of PMs listening, they only have access to certain tools at their work. You have to make do with the tools you have against these key use cases which she's outlined. And I think one of the ones that most people don't know about for Google is that AI prototyping use case. So can you show us that and how to do it well?
Yes, sounds good. All right. The UI is familiar to users at this point. So as you can see, there is kind of the area where you describe your idea. You can select the model you want to use. It defaults on 2.5 Pro, which is great, or Flash if you want to go faster. You can upload files, or you can actually do speech to text, which I've started to use more and more. Now, there's also a gallery here where you can see what other people are building, which is incredible if you want to get inspired. I know we all have so many ideas, but then by the time you're ready to use the tool and build, you kind of forget a lot of the things. So it's fun to see what other people are building. There is one thing I absolutely love here. I think they had, they were playing, let me see. Sorry, let me pull it up and then I'm going to continue. I don't know if I can search.
Take your time.
Yes, okay. I'm going to continue now. Okay. So here's a super cool example. Someone created Gemini 95, which replicates Windows 95. And you can see you have your desktop and you have kind of Chrome, but you also have Gem Sweeper. I don't know if you ever played this. Aakash, I definitely played it all the time. But it's great that you can use your natural language to actually see and visualize something that brings nostalgia or something that has been sitting in the back of your head and you're now ready to build it. Now, one of the reasons I love using AI Studio is because of Nano Banana. Nano Banana is the best text-to-image model. It's just so good. So I just love selecting Nano Banana here at the top so that I can give a heads up and say, hey, I will be using Nano Banana. All right, so should we come up with a random idea on what we can create?
I guess like everybody really wants to create at scale ads these days, right? Because that's the name of the game with paid advertising, is trying lots of different creative.
Oh, I love it. Yes, I love it. So one of the ideas I had that I really want to build and flesh out right now is to create like an easy way to generate content for LinkedIn, but not any content. Content that could have yourself things to brag about. And what I mean, I saw my friend the other day posted 6 photos of himself. One was him on his TED Talk. The other one was him doing some hike. The other one was him traveling in Greece. So it was a collage of all these kind of bucket list items. And I was thinking, you know what? With Nano Banana, you can literally upload your photo and just have it generate a collage of yourself in all these cool places. So maybe we can try and see what it would be like to build an idea where the only input you have is yourself, like your photo, and then the output is going to be a collage of you in all these super cool bucket list items so that it's kind of LinkedIn ready. I don't know. What do you think about that?
Love it. Let's do it.
All right. So I need to write my prompt. Okay. So I want to create a collage generator for LinkedIn posts. The input will be a photo from the user as well as like 6 bucket list items like meeting, I don't know, Taylor Swift, TED Talk. What else is super cool? Being in the most beautiful island and so on. So we need an app that helps us do this. All right. So that's what I did. And I'm just going to build and I want to see what comes out of it. So as you can see, I already specified that this needs to be a Nano Banana powered app because I know that the input is going to be a photo and the output is going to be a collage of photos. So you definitely need to leverage this.
Today's episode is brought to you by Jira Product Discovery. If you're like most product managers, you're probably in Jira, tracking tickets and managing the backlog. But what about everything that happens before delivery? Jira Product Discovery helps you move your discovery, prioritization, and even road mapping work out of spreadsheets and into a purpose-built tool designed for product teams. Capture insights, prioritize what matters, and create roadmaps you can easily tailor for any audience. And because it's built to work with Jira, everything stays connected from idea to delivery. Used by product teams at Canva, Deliveroo, and even The Economist. Check out why and try it for free today at Atlassian.com/product-discovery. That's Atlassian.com/product-discovery. Jira Product Discovery. Build the right thing. Today's episode is brought to you by Vanta. As a founder, you're moving fast toward product market fit, your next round, or your first big enterprise deal. But with AI accelerating how quickly startups build and ship, security expectations are higher earlier than ever. Getting security and compliance right can unlock growth, or stall it if you wait too long. With deep integrations and automated workflows built for fast-moving teams, Vanta gets you audit-ready fast and keeps you secure with continuous monitoring as your models, infra, and customers evolve. Fast-growing startups like LangChain, Writer, and Cursor trusted Vanta to build a scalable foundation from the start. So go to vanta.com/Aakash, that's VANTA.com/AAKASH, to save $1,000 and join over 10,000 ambitious companies already scaling with Vanta.
All right.
What are the other tips and tricks while using Google AI Studio for prototyping versus other prototyping tools?
Well, if you don't like the design or anything that it outputs, you just talk to it and you say, look, make the background darker with a better text contrast. I find that it really understands the tweaks and the visual tweaks better than other tools I've tried. And I mean, presentation is really, really important, and personalization. And I don't know if you're like me, but I love creating little apps for my kids. So the fact that I can specify which font to use and make it fun is very, very important. All right, so we have the first version of this. You can see the very first action item right here is to upload a file and then edit your photo. You can describe and say, well, here's how you can change this photo before we add the bucket list goals. Okay, well, let's try it and see how it goes. I'm going to upload a photo of myself.
And one thing that's different also is that most other AI prototyping apps are powered by Claude as the main model behind the scenes. This is Gemini as the main model. Claude almost always uses like gradients and stuff in its design. You don't see gradient. You don't see purple here. That's just one obvious thing that hit me.
Yeah, that is a good point. All right, so I said add a retro filter, so that would be interesting. Okay, well, bucket list items like meet Taylor Swift, give a TED Talk, be at the most beautiful island, actually work from.
Can we try something hard like meet Mr. Beast or something?
Let's do. I don't know if that's hard. Like, should we come up with like some movie character?
Sure. Meet Tom Cruise or meet The Rock.
Tom Cruise, yes. And then bucket list. The What could
Be
be
in
something?
front of the Eiffel Tower or something?
Yes. Okay. Of the Eiffel Tower. All right. Generate collage. Applying creative edits. But this is an amazing first iteration. Like you don't need backs and forths, backs and forths. Now I'm trying it once to see what comes out of it. Great. To see what comes out of it. Okay, so it needed a couple of iterations.
It's actually pretty fast, though.
It's pretty fast. I will give it that, yes. Oh, but it keeps failed to call Gemini up. Have exceeded my quota. I wonder if I can quickly purchase more. Well, you can see how much I've been using it. So let me just quickly use Gemini quota.
Always happens during the live demo
Oh
that you
my
exceed your quota.
This is insane. Okay, to adjust, request quota adjustment. Oh, bummer. System limits. I wonder if I should use a different account, but we'd have to redo the whole thing again. You know, maybe for the purposes of what we're doing, maybe stopping here is good enough where we saw the first iteration, we talk about what would be next, and then we move to the second tool, Opal, to do the comparison. I don't know what you think.
Yeah, that's fine with me. I want to ask you one more question on AI prototyping before we move on, though.
All right, let's do it.
When should you be using an AI prototype? Does it start in planning? Does it start in discovery? Does it replace a PRD? Across the product development lifecycle, how are you using an AI prototype?
I love it. I love this question. And I was just talking about it with someone. So it used to be the case, idea, PRD, comments on the PRD, product reviews, alignment, right? Whereas now the workflow is you have an idea, you don't need to reach out to anyone yet. You don't need to write a PRD. You get in there, you talk to AI Studio, you have your idea visualized, and then you pull people in. So what I do is I prototype and then bring my scientist and engineer in, and I say, hey, here's what I'm thinking. Here's the functionality. Here's the end behavior. What are your thoughts? So we debate on the actual prototype, and that saves us so much time. That makes the work so much more fun. And it used to take convincing to get engineers on board, for me at least, but now they're more easily persuaded because I can easily communicate my vision. So I use it at that time. Now, if it's something super complex, documentation still really matters, especially if it's a highly cross-functional product, especially if more people from all over the world are going to have to work on this, different time zones. So you need it for these kind of async reasons, but it's not as crucial as it used to be. So PRD is needed for super complex stuff. It's kind of more deprecated for startups, I would say. And the gap between what you see in the startup and mid to big tech is kind of widening now. So the PM is really different in the startup versus mid to big tech. But yeah, that's my new workflow, and I love it because it's creative, it's fun, and it's not predictable. For example, look what happened here where, is that Sailor Moon for the second one?
So one thing that everybody asks me when they're using AI prototyping tools is, how do I get it to use my design system? How do you get Google AI Studio to match what their current site looks like?
You can upload an image, a screenshot, and say, hey, I love these colors. I love this website. Create my app to replicate this. And in the beginning, in different tools, it would take a long time until you got there. But nowadays, it's just very, very good at this. There you go. Like add the image generation examples, add example prompts. But yeah, it's just so easy and so fun. And just imagine how many things we were able to achieve in 5 minutes. I mean, it's quite a simple app, right? But it's just so powerful. And yeah, just fun.
So the second use case you talked to us about is mini apps. Can we look at Opal next?
Yes. All right. So Opal is an experiment from Google Labs. And this is what the UI looks like. Again, there is this place where we add our natural language, or It has an interface where you can actually drag and drop. I don't know if you've used Zapier. It used to have
Of
kind of the
course.
concept of zaps. So this kind of is like zaps. I just love typing. I think it's the easiest thing. So I'm going to create the exact same use case. So I will say, given a photo of myself, I will upload. I want you to generate a collage of 4 photos and different bucket list scenarios. Prompt the user for their photo and for 4 bucket list scenarios, or suggest bucket list items for them. And that's it. Just hit this and you wait, and you'll see the automated workflow getting popularized. You'll see the automated workflow getting populated, which you can edit, or on the right side, you can just use the app. All right, so let's see what happened here. So you see, I said that the input needed to be the user photo and bucket list scenarios. And then the next thing in the workflow would be, okay, well, here is your prompt, Opal. The prompt got generated, like the whole thing. So for my one sentence, it got expanded, and you can see that massive thing, which is, okay, well, you're an imaginative, highly skilled image prompt generator, and so on, right? Here's your input. Next thing, all right, you take this as an input. Image generation has limited free quota. Okay, thank you. I hope it's going to work. And then the output is going to be a responsive HTML web page that deploys a collage of 4 images. You can also choose like a theme, for example, sci-fi, claymation cats, and all these things. But yeah, let's just see what happened in the first iteration. It called it Bucket List Vision. It created this, which actually is pretty on point, right? Because it's 4 images that I asked for. So let's start. Upload a photo of yourself. So I'm going to upload the photo of myself. Enter apt 4 bucket scenario. Meet Taylor Swift. Give a TED Talk. Go to Eiffel Tower and surprise me. All right, let's see what happens. So now it's actually expanding from my bucket list prompts to a fully fleshed scenario images. So let's see what comes out of it. I will say it looks like it takes just a little bit longer than AI Studio. Also, the output is going to be an Opal app or an Opal. It's not going to be code you can actually take and change and deploy, which is fine. Like for a simple use case, I think it's just super easy to use Opal. Now let's see what comes out of it.
So when should PMs be building workflows in Opal? What are the other use cases?
I mean, if you want to create an empathy map, the easiest thing you can do is go on Opal and say, hey, just an empathy map. You have it ready. You just type in the use case and who the user segment is, and boom, ready to go. Or when you really want to use Nano Banana in smart ways. All right. I mean, look at this. Backstage with Taylor Swift. A TED Talk. It's interesting because the Taylor Swift image also has TED, which, is not right. Oh, they all have TED. Well, suggest an edit. Okay. All images were the same, have distinct, separate images. Distinct, separate images. Let's see.
I think that some other interesting use cases I'm curious if Opal would do is like drafting emails or analyzing your calendar for meetings to remove or things like that. Can Opal be used for use cases that other AI agents can be used for?
Yes, although it's still experimental. Like I would not 100% rely on it just yet. And things do change, like new versions keep coming out. So I wouldn't add it as part of your core workflow unless, you've really tested it out.
Got it.
All right, this still seems a little bit wonky. So with that said, I've already built this myself. So let's open the version I've built. It did take a few iterations, but it eventually got there. So let me open that version. All right. All right, so in this latest iteration I have, you upload a user photo, and then you separate the 4 inputs to be separate so that the system really understands this is a separate image it needs to output. All right.
Yeah.
So let's try this again. You upload your photo. That's the easiest part. All right. And then I trained this one to actually give you examples like handshake with Taylor Swift to be the first one. The second one, sitting courtside at the Warriors game. All right.
I'm glad you like the Greek islands as much as me with Santorini there.
Yes. I mean, I'm Greek, so I'm kind of biased, but yes, it's... and I'm going to Greece in 2 weeks, and I'm counting down. I think it's going to be super fun. Top of the Eiffel Tower. All right, so now it's generating the image instructions. Hopefully we're going to get the output we're looking for. But imagine something like this. You can just take the image and post it easily on LinkedIn. And I mean, obviously it would be fake things to brag about, but it's totally something that you can easily do for, more realistic things that you've already done and say, hey, I didn't take a photo when I did this, but here's the memory I have, right?
I've often thought about like making those like realistic life shorts that you've probably seen where people have like, oh, this is when I graduated. This is when I got my first job. I don't have video of any of those things. So there's a use case.
Oh, right. Oh my God, look at this. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. So, well, I'm not really sitting at the Warriors. Taylor Swift is more like in my office rather than me being on stage with her. But this is me in Santorini and this is me on the Eiffel Tower. And there's an extra one that's bonus, which is probably me in Greece snorkeling. But this is great. You can download the collage. But again, fun with a couple of tweaks. It's going to get there. And yeah, I encourage everyone to try this out.
So workflows, really good for automating work that you have. The next one you have is your learning companion, Notebook LM. And I've been hearing a lot of hype about this. How do you use Notebook LM like a pro?
Here's my use case for Notebook LM. So Notebook LM, I don't know if people are familiar with it, but it's kind of your personalized research assistant. So whether you're a student or someone that wants to upskill, you load up only the content you care about in all these different formats: PDFs, handwritten notes, YouTube videos, websites, a Google Drive that if you put more files in there, it's going to automatically sync, and you can learn things about a specific topic. Now, what I decided to try using this for is my bootcamp. At the end of my bootcamp, I have 150 people and they all have formed teams and they pitch their product. Now, I record every pitch. I have audio clips of all of them. And what I do is, and I'll show you an example right here, I upload the audio clips of each team. And this is my demo day on June 13. And then I go to audio overview and I say, okay, do a deep dive. You are judges of Marilee Nika's AIPM Bootcamp. And here are all the pitches you need to select the top 2 based on creativity, impact, and simply better storytelling. Okay.
So is the advantage here compared to using Gemini that it can handle more context?
It's that it only uses the knowledge you provide.
So it's so context.
Context. And you can, of course, create a custom gem and do this, but I don't want to create a custom gem every single time I want to use Notebook LM, right? So this is like a custom gem that you can use and reuse and reuse. And the best part is these audio and video overviews. And of course, the mind maps and the flashcards. But what I'm doing now is generating audio. It takes a few minutes to get generated. And imagine my big bootcamp and the end of it, and everyone is pitching and they're kind of waiting. And then we play it and they hear who the winner is. Now, what's fascinating is that, I have actual judges, like I have some VCs to be judging. It's 100% correlated to what the VCs will pick and what AI picks. So sometimes I tell AI, hey, here's what the VCs picked. choose something else. So it really works, and it's such a cool, fun use case because it speaks back. I tried something like that with my kids when, the AI spoke to them about how well they did in their drawings and their homework, and they lost their mind, and now they want to do it every day. But yeah, let's see what comes out of it. All right, it
So
takes
if
a
you
while.
secretly want to motivate your kids to do something, you're telling me use Notebook LM.
But it's such a fascinating tool. I just wish I had this when I was growing up and going through my PhD. I remember the first day of my PhD, I walk into my supervisor's office. He gives me 5 books like this and says, take this, come back next week, and we talk about what you read. And I said, wait, what? Where do I start? What's going on? So this would have really changed my life. But on the other side, I'm glad I got trained the way I did. These are skills you got that really helped my entire career. But yeah, things are changing on how we learn and how we do things.
So Notebook LM could handle 5 whole books.
Notebook LM can handle so many things. And I think the biggest thing for me, here's the other use case I have. I had interviewed for this other company. I'm not going to name which one it is. And they sent me a 4-hour YouTube video that was the investor relations presentations by the leads. It was 4 hours. My interview was the next day. And what I did is I uploaded the job description on Notebook LM, and I added the YouTube link of the investor relation meeting. And I said, what do I, applying for that job, need to know from that video? And it gave me 15 points. I memorized them all. And then I went to the interview the next day and I was like, oh yeah, just like what was announced in this video, blah, blah, blah. I just did so well. Mainly because of this, right? You would not be able to do anything like this before.
I hope you're enjoying this episode with Marilee. If you are, be sure to check out her course, the AIPM Bootcamp. This episode is brought to you by Maven, where that bootcamp is held, and you can get a special code by using my link in the description to get a discount. So be sure to use my link in the description. Check out Marilee's AIPM Bootcamp if you want to learn from her 11 years of AIPM experience at Google and at Meta. And now back to today's episode. Before we dive deeper, let's talk about something every PM faces: getting alignment on product decisions. You know that feeling when you're trying to explain a user flow to engineering or justify a design choice to leadership and you're just describing it with your hands? That's where Mobbin comes in. Mobbin is the world's largest library of real-world mobile and web app designs from industry-leading apps like Airbnb, Uber, and Pinterest. Instead of spending hours taking screenshots or hunting for inspiration, you can instantly find exactly how successful products handle onboarding, paywalls, checkout flows, whatever you're facing. Over 1.7 million product builders use Mobbin to benchmark against best-in-class products and show their teams proven solutions. Whether you need to convince stakeholders there's a better way to handle user activation or research how top apps approach feature discovery, Mobbin gives you the visual proof to back up your product decisions. Check out mobbin.com/Aakash. That's mobbin.com/AAKASH and get 20% off your first year. Today's episode is brought to you by the AIPM certification on Maven. Run by Mikdad Jaffer, who is a product leader at OpenAI, this is not your typical course. It's 8 weeks of live, cohort-based learning with the leader at one of the top companies in tech. As you know by now, the future of PM is AI, and this certificate will give you the learnings, plus the hardware, to show you are ready for an AIPM role. I myself took the course and recommend it. Put on by the amazing team at Product Faculty, including Mo Ali and Paul Mulhern. It's worth it. Former students come from companies like OpenAI, Shopify, Stripe, Google, and Meta. The best part, your company can probably cover the cost. So, if you want to get $550 off, use my code Aakash550C7. That's AAKASH 550C7 and head to maven.com/product-faculty. That's maven.com/PRODUCT-FACULTY. Yeah, because I think Gemini has like 1 million token context window, so this is able to handle much bigger context.
All right, so it's ready and it has an interactive mode. Imagine calling in on a radio show and you kind of get to speak to the hosts. So now we're going to speak to the hosts that are presenting the award for my bootcamp. Okay, let's see. All right, cut to the chase. Who are the winners?
Welcome back to the deep dive. Okay, so you sent over this really fascinating stack of sources from the AI Product Management Bootcamp Demo Day. And our mission, well, it's pretty clear, right? We need to act like VCs or product leads here.
Exactly. Sift through this really diverse. Oh, hey, I think our listeners got something to say. I love the energy.
But this is fascinating. We can talk to these hosts and ask them questions. Imagine what this can do to our kids. When our kids grow up, this is how they'll be used to learning. It's just unbelievable. And, for my purposes, it makes an amazing kind of ending to my bootcamp. But yeah, that's how I use it. And it's very different and people love it.
So what are the use cases for a PM of Notebook LM?
A PM of Notebook LM is if you want to build a product for a domain you've never touched before. Let's say you're getting into a new 0 to 1 healthcare product, right? You upload books around medicine, videos. There are so many free resources on YouTube, but it's just so overwhelming to figure out what to study, what you need to know, what to read, what to watch. So you load everything up. Sometimes I don't really filter what I load up for a use case, but then I tell it, here's what I want you to derive from this content. Also, if this content is not relevant to me passing this interview or to me building a product, just ignore it and I'll find more content. So I do it a lot for new domains where I need to build products for. I do it a lot after hundreds of pages worth of UXR, where, interviews of users. And I say, okay, so what do people think, really think about my product? What should I really improve? Or can you read between the lines of what people are saying in these user interviews? And as you know, a lot of user interviews are 2-hour clips per user. And imagine that after 200 users, right? So this helps you distill content. And it's such a superpower that PMs need.
I've been preaching Notebook LM for quite a while, so the sole context and the big context window are just very hard to beat, very powerful for PMs, like you said, for user research, for new domains. The next tool you talked about is Perplexity. How are you using Perplexity?
Right. So this is Perplexity. The reason I love using this is because it has this little filter. So I turn off search across the web. And I turn on search on discussions and opinions. And I say, would young professionals be interested in a ring that tracks their steps? And you immediately see what people are talking about on Reddit. And look, at least 20 sources. And you have the link so that you can go there and see what people have to say. And discussions, and you can get there. So you do this and you immediately know what people are talking about and you can make decisions as a PM. Now, I take things one step further and I can say something like, okay, so give me a list of features based on what you read that I need to incorporate in my MVP to maximize the chances of me finding product market fit. Now you'll know what the entirety of Reddit is interested in. And again, it's reviewing the sources. I guess this is what would come after on Notebook as well, if you had uploaded all the knowledge of Reddit on Notebook, right? But we don't have that. Perplexity gets that. There you go. So you have your must-have core features, accurate step tracking, all-day comfort, battery life, and so on. So it's just phenomenal, right? Look at this.
Wow.
Look at this.
Pretty differentiated use case for Perplexity there.
Yeah, that's it.
So you can get in deep to understand what users are saying on sites like Reddit. Are there any tips and tricks or advanced ways to use Perplexity?
Tips and tricks. That's literally the only use case I use it for. I will say the next thing I want to do is download the new browser and kind of see how that changes my entire workflow. But yeah, Like that button here is the next thing I'm going to try. And then we can meet for the third podcast and see.
Awesome. So your next tool here is the one everybody's probably heard of, ChatGPT, but you have a very specific use case for ChatGPT. How are you using ChatGPT?
All right. I use ChatGPT because I have PRD Generator that has my voice. It literally speaks like me. And I've trained it to either enhance my current product with AI, so like one-to-one products, or to brainstorm a new product, like 0 to 1 products. And I've been using this so often. What's interesting is that I posted it on LinkedIn and it has over 10,000 people that have been using it as well, which tells me something about this, right? Now, we were on Perplexity before, and we have a list of things and features that our ring for fitness would include. So we copy this and we can go here and say, okay, let's brainstorm a new AI product. Now I've trained this to ask and really probe for questions. Well, what space are you interested in? Who are the users? What goal do you want to achieve? Okay, so I will say this is for young professionals that want to get healthier. It's a ring wearable, and these are the features it should have. Oops. Stop. All right, let's do this again. And these are the features it should have. Okay, so now it confirms that it understood what I asked it to do, and it wants me to confirm what is the goal. So it makes you really think that you have a PM against you, because like, wait, I'm not going to build unless I know what your goal is. So I will say something like, increase ring sales, right? Let's say that's what I want to do. So it says, okay, so your recap is target user, product, goal of adding AI, and so on. And then that's it. It's calling it microcoach, has the use case, AI health summary for sharing, AI habit designer. Let's go with the AI habit designer. So I trained it in a way that it will do some due diligence before it gets the PRD going. And as you see, here's the entire PRD. It has my voice. It has user personas, Alex 29, Micah 33, use cases, AI use case, tech stack, key features, market research, and all this good stuff. So it also should generate a UI mock so that you're ready to go.
What's your workflow for using this? Like, how much would you edit this on top of this?
Usually I will, that's the thing. If I do things for my day job, I'm not going to add my confidential things here, right? I am going to use, 1P tools. But if it's something, outside of that, the next thing I will do is I will copy that into a Google Doc and then take it from there, which is not optimal. I feel that we're still missing this step that's going to take you to the last mile. So to go from that to a Google Doc, or the other thing I will do, I'll copy that as is, and that's going to be my input to an AI prototyping tool like AI Studio. So yeah, depends on the use case and what I want to do. But that's why I say I do a lot of tool hopping, because these are different tools, and every single day they're all interconnected to some capacity.
Some people are saying like you shouldn't use AI for PRDs because it leads to too much slop and a lot of overuse of language when making the documents longer, and it doesn't, a lot of the process of getting a good PRD is writing it, because writing is thinking. What is the right amount of AI to use when writing a PRD?
Well, as I said, I've overtrained this to really have the most important things and to sound like me. I even uploaded a bunch of my PRDs that I could share externally so that it could, generate the right amount. But even if you compare the worst generated PRD with nothing, the worst generated PRD is still going to be an amazing starting point for you. I'm talking about basic things like you don't have to copy a file so that you can, write different title. Even having a title in place is a benefit. So I absolutely think that it does pay off getting the time to get the PRD generator right, because it is going to save so much time for you down the road.
Okay. Awesome. What about product strategy documents, other artifacts that PMs need to be creating? Should they be using GPTs like this?
Let's see. I use custom gems or custom GPTs for all my artifacts. Now, there are some artifacts I don't really often do. For example, landing reports, right? When you launch something and you want to see how things went. I don't think my landing reports are very consistent with each other. So for that, I'm not going to create a custom GPT, but I have a PRD generator. I have a PR FAQ generator, which is also very, very useful. But I don't think, and for product strategy, I don't have a consistent use case there, so I don't use it. But yeah, these two, PR FAQ and PRD, I always use the custom GPTs.
What is the difference between a PRFAQ and a PRD?
The PRFAQ is a very interesting practice that I first heard from some Amazon colleagues. And they said it's essentially after you know what you want to build, you imagine yourself at the end of the road where as if you were writing a press release. So they say, what would the press release look like? What would the FAQ for the press release be like? What would the quotes praising this look like? And that really helps you visualize and understand the end goal so that you can work backwards from that as you're building the product. And in the beginning, it didn't really resonate with me because I've never used it in the companies I worked for. But the more I started introducing it and training my mind around that, I realized, okay, this is a good practice. And we always use it as part of my bootcamp. So a PRD is about the requirements of what you will be building. And then the PRFAQ is just a press release. It's much, much, much shorter, and it tells you what the end goal is and what things are going to look like at the end.
Makes sense. Do you see any mistakes PMs often use when using AI to write artifacts that they should be aware of?
Yes, big one. If you want one takeaway from this podcast is don't be embarrassed to admit that you use AI. There's so many people that will share their PRDs with me, and they're going to feel bad if I can tell AI was used. So the biggest mistake is hiding that you used AI to generate your PRD. Don't hide it. Thrive. If anything, tell people, hey, I used this PRD generator for this PRD. Here's the link if you want to use it as well. So that's the number one thing. It's not embarrassing to use AI at work. We need to normalize this. It's the end of 2025.
I guess the reason people are scared is they just feel like, isn't the PRD like what they hired me for? Like, is the AI going to replace me if AI can write a PRD?
Who is going to replace PMs is people using these tools when you're not. This is who is going to replace PMs. And I see this resistance a lot on my students as well. But then the fact that they're in my bootcamp means that they're starting to worry and say, okay, it's time for me to start gaining different perspectives and switching the way I think. So we need to adopt this. Using PRDs at work is not cheating. And it used to be the case. I remember it very well. I think 3 years ago, I remember saying, the past 3 weeks, I was just creating the PRD. And nowadays, it seems so funny that I spent 3 weeks on a PRD and backs and forths and comments. Now I will have Gemini take notes from a product review. I will share my PRD with it. And then at the end of the product review, it will have adjusted and changed my PRD and ask for permission and say, hey, how about this? How about this? How about this? And I'm kind of done in 2 days, if you will. So it's just the way we work is changing and it's evolving, and it's a wonderful time to be a PM.
Speaking of taking notes, you use Fireflies as your note taker. Why and how can people use it well?
I use Fireflies for what I do outside Google. And the reason I do that is because whenever I have a meeting, anything that's on my personal calendar invite, I can't use one consistent app, but Fireflies joins everything. So Fireflies will join you in Zoom. It will join me on my Google Meets. It will be with me everywhere. It's very interesting. There was a note taker. I think it was Fireflies, but I'm not sure. I'll look it up after the podcast, where they actually announced that, hey, the person that was joining your meetings before Gen AI was an actual human pretending to be an AI. and they
Yeah, it
were
was
manually.
Fireflies.
It was Fireflies. Okay, good. And they were pretending to take notes and then send you the actual. And I was just thinking about this. This is the ultimate MVP, right, of an AI tool. Obviously, this is very scary, and who knows who was joining, but it was just so interesting.
Yeah,
But
they
yeah.
basically set the lawsuits up by admitting that themselves.
So how did we find this out? Did they even admit it? Like how? What
Yeah, the
happened at
founder
the end?
posted on LinkedIn.
Yeah. I mean, it's a great story, right? I think it reminds me of Airbnb and how they started when I think they were reaching out to Craigslist postings and they were saying, hey, I'll come to your place, take better photos, and then we'll get a cut if your house ended up renting. Anyway, I just love these bootstrapping early days of super cool things.
Here's the post from the Fireflies founder.
Oh, yes. Oh my God. This is awesome. This is awesome. Yep.
So, why Fireflies? Why not another note taker? What makes Fireflies particularly the one PMs should use?
Because we hustle a lot and we use a lot of different meeting tools. And if you're Zoom or if you're on Google Meets or if you're anywhere, it's just going to join in on its own. So you don't need to worry about that. My favorite note taker is Gemini for Google Meet, but you can bring Gemini on Zoom. And I do end up having a lot of Zoom calls because of, my academy work. So I think I use a combination of Gemini when I have Google Meet and then Firefly when I don't.
Awesome. That is your AIPM tech stack. What is your opinion on trying new tools? Like, how often should PMs be trying new tools? What is on your personal tool list to try more of? You mentioned Perplexity Comment.
The next thing in my list when I find time is to try out the two new different browsers. So Atlas by OpenAI and then Comet by Perplexity. I think every single PM, no matter the seniority, no matter the company, no matter how busy you are, no matter how many deadlines you have, you need to block your calendar for 1 hour a week and call this experimentation time. You need to not be married to a tool in the way that we used to be with Excel and Microsoft Word, because you're likely to change your workflow every single week or every single day sometimes. I always, whenever there's a tool I love, I say, okay, this is great, but I know in the back of my head that there may be something that I resonate with more the next day. Now, in terms of figuring out what to try next, best thing to do is follow our newsletters, follow the rundown, follow, the LinkedIn creators. If something worthwhile spending time and experimenting on comes out, you will see and hear it there first. But please open up time to do this. It is very important for you and your team and the future of your career, honestly.
There was this viral post recently by Peter Yang where he interviewed the head of design at Cursor. They reached $29 billion with no full-time PMs. We just walked through your AI tool stack. A lot of PMs are kind of nervous about the future of PM with these PMs being so AI powered. What's your take on this, and how should PMs really be thinking about the future of the AI powered PM?
Our craft is here to stay. We're not going anywhere. We still need to know the what and the why and the how to measure success. The tool is not going to tell you what success means for the mission of the company. The tool is not going to understand the morale of the company. It's not going to understand the whys behind strategies that may be very bold from your competitors, let's say. In some of the companies I was working for, I remember it like yesterday. I remember we had kind of a roadmap we were executing against as an org. And then this other company came out to launch this random thing no one ever expected. And then we just scratched everything we were doing and we started going after this. AI could never strategize in that way that could be so bold and say, okay, let's go after this. Some things really need judgment. Some things really need not to be cautious, or sometimes you really need to be cautious. It really depends. But yeah, it does not replace personal judgment. And us as PMs are the ones bringing the why and the PM craft that is here to stay for sure.
If a PM watched this video and they said, but Marilee, I don't have access to these tools. As a PM, how do you go to your leadership, your IT, your CEO, and get more access to some of these tools?
Oh, that's awesome. If there's no access, you have such an amazing opportunity to put together a one-sheeter and say, hey, it's really time to modernize as an org. Here's the use case identified. Here's why we'll become so much more productive. Here's how many hours we're going to save. Here's how much happier we are going to get. Make it pitch and position it. I've literally seen interns going to VPs, making some pitches, and then becoming kind of the leaders of a specific labs department. So it's an opportunity if that happens. Don't think of it like, oh God, my company is so traditional. Just go after it, pitch it, and you'd be surprised by how receptive and open leaders are nowadays.
So that's the masterclass on AIPM tools. I have to talk a little bit about AIPM because you are widely acknowledged as one of the world's leading experts in AI product management. So if somebody wants to become an AI product manager, let's say they want to get your job, what's the 18-month roadmap to landing an AIPM job at a company like Google?
I tell PMs that they need to be like crabs. What does that mean? That means that you need to move adjacent to what you've been doing. Here's an example. I had someone in my bootcamp and he was working for hearing aids. And he was telling me he always wanted to be a PM, but how does he break into PM? And I can't find an angle. I don't know how I'm going to do it and all these good things. And I said, just be a crab and bring what you have. And he said, well, I don't have anything. I was in a completely different domain. And we talked about it. And I said, you're so wrong. Let's check it out. And then we went to the Apple Careers website. And they literally were looking for a PM for AirPods for the hearing aid feature the AirPods now have. And he was just shocked. He said, I would have never looked there. So we need to be open-minded. We really need to bring in the previous experience we have because that's going to set us apart. Another example, someone reached out. I think Meta had some role in sports, in product management and AI. And he used to work for ESPN. He was in sport journalism. And he said, hey, how do I pass these PM interviews? And, we really talked about it. And I said, don't come in to that interview being afraid that you are not good enough of a PM. Come into that interview saying, hey, I have the expertise needed. The rest, I'll be able to figure it out as long as I show potential, as long as I show that I've done, my work in these frameworks. And if that is the kind of unique weak point I have, then so be it. So bring your previous experience. Now, that's for AI experiences PM. Remember last time we were talking about AI Builder, AI experiences? For AI Builder PMs, it's more like platform APIs, SDKs, like back-end stuff. It helps if you're technical. It helps if you have a CS degree or, if you're a software engineer to some capacity. If you really want to become a PM in 2026, I think the best thing you can do is, other than joining my bootcamp, the best thing you can do is just become AI literate. Your newsletter has so much content about AI. My newsletter has so much content about AI. Just understand the unique intricacies that AI brings. Understand how dependent we are on data. Understand the probabilistic nature of AI. It's all these little things that really pay off. And that honestly will increase people's confidence into even apply for this role. There's so many people that would not apply because they don't think they're qualified enough. But that AI PM role is still getting shaped. Some people hiring for AI PMs don't really know what they're hiring for yet. So you want to be a part of the conversation. Please apply. Please get AI literate. And please, you have all the resources out there for free. And we're here to help.
Should aspiring AI PMs learn how to code?
Aspiring AI PMs should learn what goes behind coding. They should understand what version control is. They should understand why there are different languages and what's different behind these different languages. They should understand what an IDE is, what an API is. So how to productionize and why productionizing is so challenging. But you don't need to learn to code per se anymore, which I never thought I would be saying. But
so everyone gets the AIPM opportunity, I feel like, these days. But where I feel people really struggle is the interview. and you've probably been on both sides of the table here for these AIPM interviews for years now. What are the biggest red flags you see in people interviewing for AIPM jobs?
There's so many things that come to mind. Number one, you see machine learning scientists coming in for the AIPM role, and they say, okay, well, I've done AI. Now I'm going to do the product. But they still really need to nail the PM craft. Like, it's still product we're talking about. It's still about the users. Use cases don't change, but the way we go about fulfilling these use cases actually changes with AI. So we really need to demonstrate that we have that PM craft. And a red flag I see is someone coming in saying, hey, I know AI well. Here's what it is. Product, let's all sit together, create roadmaps. But I say, wait, we really need to represent the user here. It's all about the why. It's all about the mission. Let's set that. So when you ask, how would you build a smart shoe or something like this, you don't want people to dive right into the solution, right? And they may be amazing at using the different trade-offs and all these different algorithms, but they really need to hear the standard PM stuff, like the why, the who, how you measure success. It's just such a big thing. Another red flag is, and I'm surprised that red flag still comes up, it's people still mix up product and program. And I interviewed someone a few months ago, and it was for some company, and I said, well, why do you want to be a PM in AI? Like, what is it about? And they said, well, I execute well, I'm very organized, I move fast. And they said, all these things are not product specific. These things can be TPM specifics or program management specifics. And they were very surprised by the answer, and they just could not come up with a good reason as to why they want to do this. And I feel we've talked about this, how the PM is all about the what, and then the TPM is all about the how. Now, I think there were some companies that called program management product management. I think Microsoft used to do this. I think it finally changed. But yeah, there's still, if you go outside our PM bubble, there's still a lot of education that we need to do for PM, let alone AIPM in the mix.
So there was this director at Booking.com, and he said he hates the term AIPM. And he said, there's so many categories of AIPM under it, and that's why he hates the term. Is AIPM a good term?
Very good question. It's so interesting. I was doing this before it was cool. I think it was 2000, I don't even know, like 18 that I said AIPM. And people say, well, what does that mean? Like, AI, what? And we started having this title when people had no idea what it was. And then everyone started adding AI and saying, I'm an AIPM and I'm AIPM. Now we're at the point where we do have many kind of subcategories of AIPM. And all these subcategories in 2-3 years will blur. So we're going to come back to kind of that main AIPM persona. So long story short, it's like saying you're in product. I know that I said this before. All product managers will be AI product managers in the future. We're kind of experiencing exactly that. It's like saying you're in product. But why is it bad? I don't understand why, it's bad. Sure, it does compress it, but so does VP of product does. There's so many different iterations of product. But yeah, the AI PM role is going to be blurred into just PM, because PM is going to have an AI element in it. But for now, I think it's good because it shows that you have the ability to understand that, the underlying AI tech and the literacy I was talking about, maybe that you're working with models. It really helps if you want to change companies and someone is looking for someone that's more familiar with this. So I don't think it's lazy in any way yet. But in the future, we're all going to be product managers working on AI.
Why is that the case? Because some people push back on me. They say, hey, 90% of PMs, they're not AI PMs. They're not working on AI features. They're not working on AI companies or AI products. They're not going to become AI PMs.
Because eventually, no matter what feature you're going to be using, it's going to have some smart functionality. Sure, if you work for a furniture company, if there's no smart tool to help you generate, like a new design or personalize it in a way, you should not be called AI PM. But Have you watched the My Big Fat Greek Wedding movie?
Of course.
Okay, you know how there is, the dad says, "Show me any word." Every single word has a Greek. All right, so it's the same with me. Show me any product, and I will find how it uses AI. Maybe it's too early to say that, but in 2026, I think I'll be able to say this. Whether it's news or whether you're on Netflix or, as I said, I did a private training for a big retail company. And the first thing I asked is, why do you need an AIPM training? And they said, well, because we have cameras and we can monitor, people walking in and which areas in the store they go to so that we can actually have insights and maximize what's going to be more likely to get sold. So show me any product and I will tell you how AI can be added to this product.
Makes
We
sense.
need a logo of like a Greek flag now for this.
Alrighty. Merrily, you broke it down. You broke down the tools that people should be using, from AI prototyping to PRD writers. There are so many different use cases as an AIPM. As Merrily said, you should be trying out new tools for an hour a week. That's the most powerful thing. Take one of the tools that we demoed here. Maybe it's Notebook LM, maybe it's Opal. Try it out. That's how you're going to improve as an AIPM. Until then, see you next time.
Thank you all. Thank you so much.
I hope you enjoyed that episode. If you could take a moment to double check that you have followed on Apple and Spotify podcasts, subscribed on YouTube, left a rating or review on Apple or Spotify, and commented on YouTube, all these things will help the algorithm distribute the show to more and more people. As we distribute the show to more people, we can grow the show, improve the quality of the content and the production to get you better insights to stay ahead in your career. Finally, do check out my bundle at bundle.aakashg.com to get access to 9 AI products for an entire year for free. This includes Dovetail, Mobbin, Linear, Reforge Build, Descript, and many other amazing tools that will help you as an AI product manager or builder succeed. I'll see you in the next episode.